Welcome everyone. Bow. So welcome, brothers and sisters in suffering. This is what brings us together over and over again. Yeah, this expression of brothers and sisters in suffering makes us reflect on our own suffering and the suffering of others. And you can really try to find any being, any creatures, any animal, any human being who doesn't suffer and unless fully enlightened. Well, you can spend a lot of time trying to find that being, right? So it really connects us, this suffering. And actually it's really including, and it opens the heart. Seeing our own suffering and the suffering of others, there is no longer it kind of softened seeming barriers between people. Of course, there are different material conditions around people, but any kind of body which is born will actually age, get sick, and die. There is no exception to that, right? Even for the richest man on the planet. Maybe this is because why some people try to, I don't know, upload their consciousness into somewhere or freeze their body to reach immortality. So, welcome, brothers and sisters in suffering. And today we will talk about that. So, it was said by the Buddha and taught for 45 years that there is a way out of suffering. And he gives us some teachings, some practices. He invited us to use our own body as a vehicle to calm the mind, to reach kind of tranquility, serenity, in order to develop insight, understanding, clear seeing into what is said, how things really are. So if we close our eyes and really shortly, for 10 minutes or so today, we can use our body close our eyes, sit comfortably, upright, alert, bring mindfulness, attention back into the body. We can put our attention onto the breath, connecting with the breath. feeling what has to be felt, maybe the swelling of the belly area, feeling the whole body breathing. Steadying the attention, following, staying with the full inhale and full exhale. Allowing whatever arises, fully accepting the status of the body and the status of the mind. Can be restless, dull, whatever emotions. Can be loneliness today, sadness, joy, boredom. Welcome, welcome. Painful feelings might arise in the body. Pleasant feelings might arise in the body. Most probably lots of neutral feelings as well. Welcome everything. Any mood is welcome. Any kind of perceiving the body is welcome. We might perceive the whole body breathing from head to toes, just parts of the body. And just notice for the next 2-3 minutes or so when there is thinking, tasting, smelling, hearing, feeling. Seeing behind the eyes closed, or seeing images in the third eye, any kind of seeing. Let the dance happens. The dance of the 6 senses. We just bring a light attention to that. And if the mind is wandering to past events, to future, imagining, planning, wanting to do something else, gently, gently, slowly, slowly bring it back. To what's happening right now, through the six senses. And whenever you are ready, you can open your eyes slowly, slowly. So it was a very short practice, but just to illustrate how one can use, we use the body in order to observe the inner landscape, or let's say the activity of at the six sense doors. So the activity of, as I said, so seeing, smelling, hearing, thinking, and so on. Um, and with, of course, no trying to allow everything to happen, and you start maybe to see how the movement of the minds, let's say, towards a particular part of the body, how it is attracted to thinking, when you start to really be caught up into narratives, into stories, what happens when you go back and use the body again as a frame of reference, because this is where insight starts, understanding, and this is the beginning. Then you can go towards insight practice and look at the three characteristics for each phenomena which occurs. Insatisfactoriness, impermanence, and not self. So this is the practice. And this is the door, the way, actually, to go into really understanding. Because this understanding, this is what will allow you to become dispassionate towards the five aggregates of clinging and the five aggregates. The body, perceptions, feelings, sense consciousness. Volitional formations, sankharas, or what, some thoughts. I was not long time ago, a few days ago, I was with a friend, and we were recalling how it was before, let's say, before and after the first stage of enlightenment. So stream entry in the Theravada tradition. Kind of comparing the suffering before and after. So the first and the very first thing that came to mind while reflecting on that, reflecting on our path, well, for me, was the very first thing that came is that's the end of war. Then I reflected and I said, oh, that's not the end of war really happens at higher stages when ill will completely disappears. Because then it's the end of inner war and the end of wars with others. Let's say that enmity and towards others, really. No, well, it depends on the degree of alignment, but it first fades at the second stage of alignment, and then third stage of alignment, it's completely gone. It's really the end of war. At every moment. But if I recall, I try to recall how it was before stream entry and after stream entry. And it's like night and day, I don't know. And there was this simile given by the Buddha, not specifically to illustrate before and after stream entry, or it was Sariputta. Sariputta who gave the simile of the 100 spears, and he said that he addressed the bhikkhu. Sariputta was one of the top chief disciples of the Buddha and one of the arahant, fully enlightened beings, and he said to the bhikkhus, to the monks, imagine, bhikkhus, if there would be in front of you 100 men with some spears, everyone hold one spear, and on the morning those 100 men would stab you once with a spear, okay? And in the afternoon, well, at noon, those 100 men would also stab you once again, every one of them 100 times in total, in the evening too. And this, imagine that you would have, so they would do that every day, and imagine that you would have a lifespan of 100 days. So you would be stabbed with a spear for 300 times every day for 100 years. And this would be the price for you to pay in order to fully understand, fully comprehend the Four Noble Truths. So there is suffering, there is the origin of suffering, and this is the way out of suffering, and I forgot the cessation of suffering, third one. If it would be the price to pay, then Sariputta said, I would advise you just to take it, to pay for it. And the meaning for that was that what the benefit of that, the gain, would be, how to say that, much greater than this kind of suffering, being stabbed 300 times a day for 100 years. And I would say that when you really pass stream entry, also the suffering really drops tremendously. You cannot even imagine how it is. So our first stage is Sotapanna, stream entry. And it's say that there are 3 fetters that are dropped. In total there are 10 fetters. The first 3 are Sakaya Ditti, the view that there is a self, a person, that you are a person and not made of these 5 aggregates of clinging. There is the attachments to rites and rituals, thinking that by doing rituals then you can get enlightenment. And there is a skeptical doubt, so one of the 5 hindrances that drops. And the skeptical doubt is that you no longer have doubt that actually the Noble Eightfold Path will bring you to the end of suffering. You've seen through it. You've understood actually what it is clinging to these 5 aggregates, how it is dangerous and how to escape it. You've understood at least the beginning. It's the beginning of understanding that this is what brought you into, and that what's bring you into samsara over and over again. this craving for sensual pleasures, for existence, for non-existence, is what keeps you coming back over and over again. And this, you lose the view of the self. So meaning that you have seen through the passing, the arising and passing away of all these five aggregates. And you no longer see you as a kind of entity. And at the beginning, before this realization is really mature, we see that we do not really ask ourselves if we are in the body is in with us, or any combination of that. Well, we move around, and there is this successions of where we are acting in the world, and we only see the world, we only see the dualities. We do not see sense consciousness, we do not feel feelings, we do not see that we can watch our thoughts, we do not see their arising, their passing away according to conditions. So we are born, we do not know why, and of course we look for gratification in the world. We do some good actions, bad actions. We necessarily don't know that each, depending of our mind states, that there are consequences. The law of karma, that if we do good actions, we might get results, good results, and wholesome states will lead to painful results. And we do not know that this body is actually a consequence, the effect of our past karma. All right, and so before this realization, before stream entry, then I was trying to remember, because once you've passed the first stage, then let's say you cannot really go back to how you perceive the world before. You cannot really go back. So I was trying to remember how it was to only see the world as external, and only to live through this dual world of polarities. So I would say the normal person would see, so me, others, my opinions, my views, the opinions and views of others. They are kind of people imposing something onto me. I do not agree with that. I try to react, to impose my view maybe, or to get in my way, and it's kind of only kind of push-pull, attractions, repulsions all the time, not, and ideas, trying to solve problems, trying to get things, and not finding any way to soothe and tranquilize the nervous system, always in the reacting mode. Like, of course, and you try to find a way to stop what seems to be just chaos. So for that you put yourself with like-minded people, and you try to control the conditions around you in order that you suffer less. All right. Or that you get what you want. You do not know that there is something else that can be done than getting satisfaction through the sense pleasures. When you feel very, very bad and you have lots of painful emotions, then how to get out of that? You try to get sense pleasures. Sense pleasures means just, oh, I need tranquility, or I need my things around me. I don't need that people, and so on. Well, it can have different shape and forms and ways to do that, but you understand me, right? And I don't know, I remember I read, I don't know how many hundreds of books, and say, okay, life cannot be just that. Life cannot be just this push-pull and having this or that house I had, that beautiful relationships I had, this career I had, money I had, traveled I had. Okay, this comes, this goes. No more house, no more money, no more sightseeing. Okay, so it came, it goes, and then what? And then you are left with that, with this kind of, what's the meaning of that? And then life just looks like chaos. These forces that you do not understand, it's used against me. Please, I need my peace, so I have to do that. And yeah. This is why there is this invitation to see that beyond all those polarities, good and bad, me and them, my world, this world, in and out, or what else? Here and there, these peoples who think like that, those peoples who do not think like me. There's this invitation to go beyond that. Okay, and you cannot actually see that there is something else just by mere reasoning. Well, the philosophers, they try to. So it can be an entry. Say, okay, the absurdity of this world, dual world. And you might realize that these kind of dualities are just mind-made, fabricated, depending on your perception of your conditioning. So is your conditioning better than the conditioning of this other person? Then this is, yeah, okay, you start to really inquire about that, about what is imposed onto you. And then we use that body, we use insight practice in order to look at those things, at what? At those 5 aggregates of clinging, and at the origin of your suffering, craving. So you put a framework in your life, the 5 precepts, just harmlessness, goodwill, not killing, not stealing, not lying, not using harsh speech, trying to maintain training the mind, not taking intoxicants, drugs, intoxicants for the mind, good sexual, normal sexual conducts, good sexual conducts, respecting any kind of partner. So this is kind of framework. You say, okay, in that framework, at least you try and say, okay, it's kind of developing morality, virtues. Then in that framework, at least I'm safe for, or I'm out of big troubles in my life. So if the case, then maybe I can sit now and I can train the mind. And you start to look what's going on inside. We say inside, but this is a way to... We need to use this language, inside, outside, inwards, outwards, first, right? You look for yourself inside. And when there is suffering, you inquire what's the origin of suffering. You look for yourself, craving, and say, okay, what can be done with clear seeing? Can it be let go of? Maybe not. Then let's practice inside, develop understanding. Look at everything as non-self, impermanent, and satisfactoriness. This dual world outside is inherently unsatisfactory, all right? We go further with the development of insight practice. Maybe reach the first stage of enlightenment, stream entry. Where this realization of that there is no a kind of solid person, this becomes very clear. You say, okay, let's continue. Suffering is still there. Suffering is still there. So it's called stream entry because when you're there, it feels like, well, it depends from person to person, but it is said in the scriptures that you won't. There will be maximum 7 lifetimes before you reach full enlightenment. So it's like you sit there and whatever, I don't know, and then you will be brought somehow to the end and to full liberation. And you might feel for yourself that indeed there is a kind of, you are kind of pushed towards, I would say, more and more understanding. And there is also this, this shanda, or this emergency to, yes, start to say, okay, let's develop the path. And let's go further, maybe. Yeah, suffering is still there, defilements in the mind are still there. So let's go practice. Develop inside. And you start, the first path that you walk to reach stream entry, then you go to the second path for once returner. Once returner is the second stage. And the second stage is say once returner because you will come back once. Non-returner is that at the time of death, this is the third stage of enlightenment, then you will be reborn in a higher realm and got enlightened there, inherent. You won't be, there won't be any rebirth. although it is said that some Arons get rebirth, come back. This is a full topic in itself. Yeah, so there are 10 fetters. So the 3 fetters after stream entry, I've talked about them rapidly. Second stage of enlightenment, you weaken 2 fetters that are sensual pleasures, sensual desires, and ill will. Third stage of enlightenment, then these 2 fetters, sensual desires and ill will, are eradicated, and the Arahant eradicates the 5 higher fetters that are desire for material states, the Rupa jhanas, immaterial states, the Arupas jhanas, restlessness, ignorance, and conceit. Conceit because before that, before the eradication, the sense of I am, or the kind of, yeah, there is still this happening that this sense of self is still there before that. It's not only a sense of self, it's the thought I am this, I am that. And this feeling, or this maybe subtle desire to express it, I would say. So after stream entry, when you realize what you are not made of, what you are not actually, and that you are a kind of mind constructions, and when you clearly see the mental and volitional formations forming due to conditions, when you see that doesn't mean that your sense of personality of I am completely disappears after the first stage. That doesn't mean that you completely forget yourself, or you completely forget you cannot function anymore in the world. That doesn't mean also that you won't get caught up into a wandering mind, and that you won't feel this strong sense of self. But let's say that when it occurs, then it's easier for you to realize it, and also there is the understanding behind it. This understanding is not there before stream entry, or only partial. And there is not this strong faith that, of course, yeah, it's that, and this, there is no doubt about how to, let's say, practice around that. There is a question. Let me see. Comment. I have to move the phone. I've changed the setting today. All right, this is someone talking about her experience when she asks, "Who am I?" Yes. I would say that as long as there is an answer, well, pay attention also. Because as soon as there is any formulation of an answer, either I'm wholeness, I'm everything, or I'm plants, I am animals, I'm interconnected with everything and so on, then one has also to pay attention to that. It's still, it's giving meaning to something, okay? And I don't know really, I do not want to give an answer to that person, but as long as there is kind of perception or meaning or conserving of I am everything and nothing at the same time, yeah, there might still be a kind of very, very subtle of wanting to be something, wanting to be a wall with the universe, or wanting to be every animal, plant, even feeling anything, feeling others. Because those experiences are still coming and going. And I would say even the sense of being at peace is also, it can be still a constructed experience, but it's beginning. Um, so it is to encourage you to really keep investigating, sitting, looking at every phenomena through insight practice, walking meditation, standing meditation, lying down meditation, walking, sitting. Paying attention to your intentions, investigating in the kind of self-views that you have about yourself. Bringing kindness to yourself, to everything. Acceptance to what you're doing, when it works, when it doesn't work. And also maybe try to drop the idea that you need special conditions in order to do the work. That I should be on retreat, I should be with that master, I should read this or that. And instead of worrying about all of that, just walk. Just walk. I had also this idea that I should be a nun, that I should go to the monastery, or that I should do this and that, have a master, a teacher. And stream entry happened in my corridor. during, well, no, the first realization that there was no me in my corridor when I was doing walking meditation. It's just through 4 meters in between two narrow walls, and it was just there walking, realizing, oh my God, I've never been me. And this realization couldn't go away. And then, of course, I sat, developed the jhanas, and then stream entry. First time. And recently I was sitting with someone, meditation, we were with other people. And after meditation, he was in tears, telling, my life will never be the same again. My life will never be the same again. He couldn't say anything else. In tears. I knew what it was. This realization. This strong realization that there is something beyond dualities. Right or wrong, me and him. I am like this. I will never change. I have to be like that. Because otherwise, what? Fear, rejection by others, how to live with that. Not realizing that everything is impermanent, that thoughts come and go, that they do not define you, that you can change your volitions, your intentions, and that can shape your entire life. This is kind of like you really peel off some. Yeah, there is always this simile of the veil, or like the clouds in the sky. Somehow they work quite well. They are not the thing, but this is what I say. Oh my God, behind those gray clouds there is a blue sky. Nobody ever told me. I've never noticed. How could I have known? And then clouds can come back. You know that the sky is blue, and then you know that then after you discover even further maybe that there is a planet, and then there is an entire universe, and there is space and nothingness, and then more and more discoveries. And yes, this is this peeling. You start to be disenchanted with the meanings, with the conceptions, with sensual pleasures. And life kinds of cool down. Reactivity cools down. There is less agitation, restlessness. If there is a problem coming, those mental patterns of reactivity they've stopped appearing. So you see through another perspective. yeah, through a cool perspective. Maybe not always. You might, along the path, you will still have challenge. There will always be something that triggers you. And then slowly, slowly, you say, okay, this I've never encountered. Reactivity. Okay, why you inquire? The origin of suffering, craving, what I'm still holding on to something I don't know what it is. Then you sit and look. And it's really an emptying of habitual patterns. They're really, because you stop actually activating them. When you start to inquire, to meditate, you stop developing the jhanas. You stop activating those mental patterns. So you do not take those habitual roads. So they are no longer taken at some point. And you realize, oh yeah, 2 years ago, I used to react to this kind of words or triggers, and now so I encourage you to develop, to practice, and to still see where identification lies. Identifications with the 5 aggregates. And okay, that was today's talk. Thank you for listening. Thank you, thank you. Is there any question? That topic or any other topic? Or if you want, you can also feel free to leave. But it's open for questions. You're welcome.